Have you ever felt like the world moves differently for you? Like the rhythm of life doesn't quite match the beat of your heart? Maybe you've always had this quiet, unshakable feeling that there is something bigger waiting for you, something extraordinary. And yet, it's not loud or obvious, it's subtle. Like a whisper carried on the wind, just faint enough to make you wonder if you're imagining it. But let me tell you this, you are not imagining it. That whisper, that is the voice of your divine calling. There are those among us who are chosen not by a person, not by a system, but by the universe itself. These chosen ones are not marked by external signs of success or power. They're marked by their inner restlessness, their relentless questioning, and their inability to fit into the molds designed by society. You see, the world wasn't built for them. It was built by them, though they often don't realize it until much later. But how do you know if you're one of the chosen ones? How do you recognize the signs? And more importantly, what do you do when you see them?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
Let's begin with the first truth: the universe doesn't shout, it nudges. It's not going to send you a billboard with flashing lights that says, "You've been chosen." Instead, it will send you signs, subtle but undeniable, if you're paying attention. These signs often manifest as feelings, gut instincts, dreams, synchronicities. For example, have you ever had a moment where everything seemed to align perfectly, almost as if the world was conspiring in your favor? Or maybe you faced hardships so intense that you wondered why life seemed to single you out for suffering. Here's the paradox: both are signs. The chosen ones are often tested through immense challenges, not to break them, but to awaken them. The universe tests those it calls, not because it enjoys their pain, but because it knows their strength. Think about it. Do you sharpen a blade by leaving it untouched? No, you put it to the grindstone. You polish it through friction and fire. The same is true for you. The hardships you've faced, the doubts you've carried, the times you felt lost, they were not punishments. They were preparing. But here's the question I want to ask you: have you been listening? Have you truly been paying attention to the signs in your life, or have you been dismissing them as coincidences, as delusions, as just life? Because here's the thing, we often ignore the very signs we've been praying for. You ask the universe for clarity, and it sends you a dream so vivid it wakes you in the middle of the night. But you brush it off the next morning. You ask for direction, and it places a stranger in your path who says exactly what you needed to hear, but you call it luck. Why do we do this? Is it fear, doubt, or is it that deep down, we're afraid of what it means to be chosen? Being chosen isn't easy. It's not glamorous. It's not about glory or recognition. It's about responsibility. When you are chosen, you are given a task not by someone else, but by your own soul. And that task often requires you to walk a path that few understand. You may find yourself feeling isolated, misunderstood, even rejected. But let me tell you something profound: the chosen ones are never truly alone. The universe may strip away the people and circumstances that no longer serve you, but it will always replace them with what you need. Think about the times you've lost something you thought you couldn't live without. Maybe it was a relationship, a job, a dream. At the time, it felt like the end of the world. But looking back, can you see how those losses cleared the way for something greater? Can you see how they forced you to grow, to evolve, to step into a version of yourself that you never would have become otherwise? That's the work of the divine. That's the path of the chosen. But here's the challenge you must be willing to let go. The universe can only work with what you're willing to release. If you're clinging to the past, to fear, to the illusion of control, you're closing yourself off to the very guidance you're seeking. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What are you afraid to lose, even though deep down you know it's holding you back? The chosen ones are called to trust not blindly, but deeply. To trust that even in the darkest moments there is a purpose. To trust that their pain is not random but meaningful. To trust that the universe is not working against them, but for them, even when it feels like the opposite. And here's the truth: when you start to trust, when you start to listen, the signs become clearer. The synchronicities become undeniable. The path begins to reveal itself, step by step, but you must take the first step. The universe cannot move through you if you are standing still. So let me ask you this: are you ready to move? Are you ready to stop waiting for permission, for certainty, for the perfect moment? Are you ready to answer the call, even if you don't fully understand it yet? Because here's the secret: you don't need to understand it. You just need to trust it. When you see the signs, whether it's a dream, a gut feeling, a moment of serendipity, don't dismiss them. Don't wait for more proof. Act on them. Follow them. And yes, it will be scary. Yes, it will require courage. But remember, this courage is not the absence of fear, it is the willingness to move forward in spite of it. The chosen ones are not chosen because they are fearless. They are chosen because they are willing. Willing to listen, willing to trust, willing to act. So the question is not, are you chosen? The question is, are you willing? Life has a peculiar way of showing you who you really are when you least expect it. It doesn't happen through comfort or ease, but through moments that force you to confront the raw truth of your existence. The chosen ones are not given a map or a clear set of instructions, they are given uncertainty. And it's in that uncertainty where transformation begins. There's a reason why so many people fear the unknown. It strips away everything familiar, everything safe. But for the chosen, the unknown is not the enemy. It's the proving ground. You might have noticed that the more you resist this uncertainty, the louder it gets. It shows up in the form of restlessness, dissatisfaction, even chaos. It's not there to punish you, it's there to wake you up. Have you ever wondered why certain people seem to thrive in situations that would break others? Why they rise above circumstances that seem insurmountable? It's not because they're stronger or smarter or luckier. It's because they've stopped fighting the unknown. They've stopped trying to control everything. They've learned to let the divine work through them, instead of insisting on doing everything themselves. And that's where most people get stuck. The idea of surrender feels like weakness, like giving up. But true surrender is the opposite of passive. It's active. It's the moment you stop trying to force life to fit your expectations and instead open yourself to what life is asking of you. But here's the hard part: this kind of surrender requires trust. Not the kind of trust that comes with guarantees or assurances, but the kind of trust that feels like stepping off a cliff with no promise of a soft landing. It's terrifying. It's uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. Think about the moments in your life when you felt most alive. Not just happy or content, but truly alive. Chances are, those moments came when you were on the edge of something unknown. Maybe it was a decision you didn't feel ready to make, a risk you weren't sure would pay off, or a truth you could no longer ignore. Whatever it was, it forced you to confront the parts of yourself that you usually keep hidden. For the chosen ones, this process happens over and over again. It's not a one-time event. It's a way of life. The universe will keep asking you to step into the unknown because that's where your power lies. Not in what you already know, but in what you're willing to discover. And here's the paradox: the more you resist the unknown, the more you suffer. But the moment you embrace it, something incredible happens. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw obstacles. You begin to notice connections that were invisible before. You begin to move not from a place of fear, but from a place of intuition. This is what it means to become a vessel for the divine. It doesn't mean you lose yourself or become some passive observer of your own life. It means you align yourself so deeply with your calling that your actions are no longer driven by ego, but by purpose. But alignment isn't something that just happens. It's a choice you make every day. It's in the way you show up, even when you don't feel ready. It's in the way you listen to those quiet nudges, even when they don't make sense. It's in the way you keep moving forward, even when the path isn't clear. So here's a question to consider: what are you holding on to that's keeping you from aligning with your calling? Maybe it's the need for certainty. Maybe it's the fear of failure. Or maybe it's the belief that you're not ready, not good enough, not capable. Whatever it is, it's not real. It's a story you've been telling yourself, and it's time to let it go. The chosen ones are not chosen because they are perfect or fearless or extraordinary. They are chosen because they are willing to step into the unknown, even when every part of them wants to turn back. But there's something else you need to understand. Being chosen doesn't mean you'll always feel chosen. There will be days when you doubt everything: your purpose, your path, even yourself. There will be moments when you feel lost, disconnected, like you've taken a wrong turn. This is not a sign that you failed. It's a sign that you're growing. Growth is messy. It's uncomfortable. It's not linear. But it's also the most sacred work you'll ever do. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to do it alone. The universe will always send you what you need, even if it doesn't look the way you expect. Maybe it's a person who inspires you, a book that changes your perspective, or a moment of clarity that comes out of nowhere. Pay attention to these gifts. They are not random. They are the universe's way of guiding you, even when you feel lost. But guidance is useless if you're not willing to act on it. How many times have you felt a spark of inspiration, only to let it fade because you were too afraid to take the first step? How many opportunities have you missed because you were waiting for the perfect moment? There is no perfect moment. There is only now. The path of the chosen is not a straight line. It's a spiral, a dance, a constant unfolding. And the more you trust the process, the more the process will reveal itself to you. So what does it mean to truly embrace this path? It means letting go of who you think you should be, so you can become who you really are. It means listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart, your gut, your very soul. It means taking risks, not because you know you'll succeed, but because you know you have to try. And most of all, it means understanding that your calling is not about you. Yes, it will transform you. Yes, it will bring you joy and fulfillment. But ultimately, it's not about your comfort or your success. It's about what you're here to give. The chosen ones are chosen not for their own sake, but for the sake of others. Their work is not just to awaken themselves, but to awaken the world. And that's a responsibility that requires courage, humility, and an unshakable belief in something greater. So the question is not whether you're ready. The question is whether you're willing to let go of the life you thought you wanted, so you can step into the life you were born to live. Willing to face the unknown, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Willing to become a vessel for the divine, even when it challenges everything you thought you knew. Pain changes things. It strips away illusions, breaks down walls, and forces you to confront the parts of life that most people spend their entire existence avoiding. For the chosen ones, pain isn't just something to endure, it's the fire that forges them. It's the raw material from which they create their purpose. Think about it. The most profound moments of growth in your life likely didn't come from times of ease or comfort. They came when everything fell apart, when the ground beneath your feet crumbled, when you were forced to face truths you didn't want to see. Pain has a way of cutting through the noise, breaking down everything false, and leaving only what's real. But here's the thing, most people miss: pain isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning. It's the doorway. The chosen ones are not defined by their pain, they are defined by what they do with it. Most people run from pain. They numb it, deny it, bury it under distractions. But the chosen ones lean into it, not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand that pain is a teacher. It's not there to destroy you, it's there to guide you. But it can only guide you if you're willing to look at it honestly. When you stop running from your pain, something remarkable happens. You start to see it for what it really is: energy. Raw, untamed energy. And energy, by its nature, can be transformed. What was once a source of suffering can become a source of strength. What once broke you can become the foundation on which you build your life. But transformation doesn't happen automatically. It requires a decision to stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start seeing yourself as the creator of your reality. This is the moment when everything changes. The chosen ones are not chosen because they have perfect lives. In fact, the opposite is often true. They are chosen because they have the courage to turn their pain into light, their struggles into wisdom, their fears into fuel. When you begin to see your pain as a gift, something extraordinary happens. You start to notice that the very things that hurt you the most are the things that connect you most deeply to others. Your wounds become bridges. Your scars become proof that healing is possible. And that's where purpose begins. Purpose doesn't come from chasing happiness or success. It comes from recognizing that your life has meaning, not in spite of your struggles, but because of them. Think about the people who have inspired you the most. Chances are, they're not the ones who've had easy lives. They're the ones who faced unimaginable challenges and emerged stronger, wiser, more compassionate. They're the ones who've taken their pain and used it to create something beautiful, something meaningful, something that makes the world a little brighter. This is the power of the chosen ones. They don't just survive, they transform. They don't just heal themselves, they heal others. Their lives become a testament to what's possible when you refuse to let pain define you. But let's be clear, transformation isn't easy. It's messy, uncomfortable, and often terrifying. It requires you to confront the parts of yourself that you'd rather ignore. It requires you to let go of old beliefs, old patterns, old versions of yourself. And it requires you to step into the unknown, not knowing what you'll find on the other side. This is why so many people avoid it. It's easier to stay in the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. It's easier to blame the world, to blame other people, to blame circumstances, than it is to take responsibility for your own growth. But the chosen ones don't settle for easy. They don't settle for survival. They understand that their pain has a purpose, and they're willing to do the work to uncover it. So how do you transform your pain into purpose? It starts with honesty. You have to be willing to face your pain, not as something to be fixed or avoided, but as something to be understood. What is it teaching you? What is it asking of you? What is it asking of you? What does it want you to see? Next, you have to let go of the idea that your pain makes you weak. Weakness is not in feeling pain, it's in letting it control you. Strength comes from choosing to see your pain as an opportunity, not a limitation. And finally, you have to take action. Transformation doesn't happen in your head. It happens in the choices you make every day. The choice to forgive, even when it's hard. The choice to try again, even when you failed. The choice to keep moving forward, even when you're scared. The chosen ones don't wait for permission to live with purpose. They don't wait for their pain to magically disappear. They start exactly where they are, with exactly what they have, and they trust that the path will reveal itself as they walk it. But here's the thing about purpose. It's not about you. It's not about your comfort, your success, or your happiness. It's about what you're here to give. The chosen ones understand that their lives are not their own. They are part of something much bigger, something they may never fully understand. And this is what sets them apart. They don't measure their lives by what they get, but by what they give. They don't see their struggles as obstacles, but as opportunities to serve. They don't ask, "Why me?" They ask, "What can I do with this?" This is the ultimate power of the chosen ones. They take their pain, their struggles, their imperfections, and they use them to create something that matters. They use their lives to light the way for others. And the truth is, the world is desperate for this kind of light. There are so many people out there who are lost, broken, and searching for something real. The chosen ones are not perfect, but they are real. They are proof that pain can be transformed, that healing is possible, that life has meaning even in its darkest moments. So if you've ever felt like your struggles are meaningless, know this: they're not. They are shaping you, preparing you, calling you. They are the raw material for your purpose, if you're willing to see them that way. And if you've ever doubted whether you're strong enough, whether you're ready, whether you're capable, know this: you are. Not because you're perfect, but because you're willing. Willing to face your pain, to transform it, to use it for something greater. The chosen ones are not chosen because they are special. They are chosen because they choose. They choose to rise, even when it's hard. They choose to trust, even when it's scary. They choose to live with purpose, even when the world tells them it's impossible. And in doing so, they change everything. That's the truth about the chosen ones. They aren't different from anyone else, they've just made a different choice. Now the question is, what will you do with your pain? Will you let it bury you, or will you let it transform you? Will you keep it to yourself, or will you use it to light the way for others? This is your calling. What you do with it is up to you.